A Court of Fairies and Fiction. ACOFAF Girls Podcast. Hosts Mel Liv and Aka. A bookish theory and discussion podcast for the ACOTAR Crescent.
Okay, it's kind of wild because we literally sat here on New Year's Eve last year and was like, season 2. Like, I feel like that was yesterday.
It does, doesn't it? It totally feels like that.
Wild.
Yeah.
I was like, this year just started. How is it already almost over? It's crazy. I feel so old.
Right? And like how amazing we had like new developments this year. We have Eka who joined us.
I know. It was so much
I
fun.
love it.
And we get a whole
been great.
season with her shenanigans next year. We have a bunch of other guests coming on for season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned for those announcements. And we have the Christmas books discussions that we're going to do.
I'm so excited. We have to, well, we're going to tell them which 2 books, right?
Yeah. So the book that I picked for our little book club discussion is The Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Leese. She is like a really good romance author, and I'm really excited. And it's small enough, like enough to remember to do a discussion on. And it's like really cute. So I
love it. I'm looking forward to it. I like, this is probably my first year actually intentionally reading festive romance books. Like I've never done it before, so I'm really excited.
I'm such a mood reader. Like I never just like I have so many Halloween books and Christmas books, and I just never pick them up.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so excited. And then Eka has one too.
I find it hilarious that the cover is like such an old school romance cover.
I love it, but like those are the OG. Like that's
the OG.
the good stuff.
I know.
You know what I mean?
And like because the covers look so like soap opera-y, but like usually the contents are like the same as like I don't know, the cartoon covers you see now. So it's so funny.
I'm so excited. I know. I love it.
And it is by Jill Shavis. I don't know if it's gonna.
Kind of.
There we go.
There it is.
Chasing Christmas Eve. So if you guys want to follow the discussion in season 3 for these 2 books, it might be the first or second episode. We'll see. First or second episode. And if you guys read along with us, you can follow the discussion. So I would add those to your Amazon cart or your Kindles as soon as you can. Anyways, to end out this season, because I thought it would be fun and controversial, because what are we if not controversial? I thought that we would do an episode on mates and the mate pairs that we like and don't like. Of course.
Crackships
And all this stuff. And really quick before we start that, because I didn't get to mention this in the previous episode. Do you remember it was episode 23, where I said, oh, Rhys reminds me of Prue when she astral projects into the void or whatever. Do you remember when I said how like she kind of goes like quiet, and then like when she comes back into her body she like gasps? So I found the actual quote when he goes into Nesta's nightmare, and I was so fucking on par. I can't even tell you, because it's exactly what Prue does in the show. Her physical body goes into like this little sleep mode. Like she just kind of like goes like that when like she's outside of her body. And then when she comes back, she's like, like she's literally going back into her body. And I did the whole reel of like, oh my God, Rhys does actually astral project into the void using his Daimati powers. And I did the reel and I actually posted the scene of Prue doing it with the quote of Rhys under it.
Yeah.
So I said, not Rhys astral projecting into the void and cauldron. It is a mind power. And so it says, Rhys went still in a way that told Cassian his brother was no longer fully present, but rather in the mind of the female who had gone unmoving upon the bed. He'd rarely thought twice of Rhys's gifts as a Daemati, Feyre's gift too now, but he'd never been more grateful for it. Cassian barely dared to breathe. Azriel hovered behind him as Rhys stood before the bed. Slowly the flame receded, vanished like smoke. Then Nesta's body relaxed, and then her breathing evened out, her body going limp, blissfully unconscious. And then a little after that, it says, Rhys then inhaled sharply, his body full of movement again. He fucking astral projected into her nightmare, into her head. His entire fucking soul. That's why he could grab her and pull her back.
Can I say it? Can I say it?
Starting off the mate shit.
So the way that Lucien has his nightmares and the way that Nesta has her nightmares are parallel.
They are.
They are the true mates. Feyre and were supposed to be mates.
Oh, there's also another little thing. You know how everyone's like, well, maybe you can have more than one mate. You know how that's like a thing in the fandom, how they're convinced some people can have more than one mate. So when Feyre dies during childbirth, it does actually say that Rhys like screams like his soul is being ripped apart, which is exactly what Feyre does when Rhys dies, obviously. So I'm like, maybe, I don't know, maybe Feyre was his mate and then Nesta got made, and they're like, well, he's the most powerful, so he gets two sisters. I don't know.
I need you to commission some Rhys and Nesta artwork for us, some fan art.
There's so much Rhysta shit on Tumblr.
There is?
It's beautiful. I love it.
They're like the ultimate enemies to lovers.
Ultimate Rhys lovers. I'm down.
Okay, you guys need to share this with me because I've gotten none of the Rhysta stuff.
Oh my God.
What groups is this in?
Oh, it's just on Tumblr. There's a couple people. I usually send them to her when I see them.
Send them to me too because I want to see it.
But like, it does make sense. But then, like, so are we thinking that Nesta accidentally made the bond with Cassian because she wanted him more? Or are we thinking that Rhys did it to cover up that she was his second mate? Because I don't know if he did it or if she did it.
I think both. Because both of them are powerful. What if they did it together, and because both of them wanted that thing, it is the court of dreams.
And nightmares. Dreams and nightmares, the face of dreams and nightmares.
Wait, so you're thinking that Cassian and Nesta together did it because they wanted each other?
Nesta and Rhys. I'm thinking that Rhys was covering it up from the start, but then Nesta made the bond, like as the spell, like when they had sex that time when everyone's like, oh, the bond snapped, and it's like multiple threads, which also multiple threads. Rhys and Nesta are like tying her to him. I
mean, it's a great crackship. I love the Rhysta crackship.
It's so weird how they're like parallels though, because you're right, like they are parallels.
They are.
We can't really hear you.
Oh, God damn it.
Turn your volume up, girl.
I am.
You're like underwater, far away.
That's because I had a fan blowing in my face because it's hot.
It is hot today, isn't it? It's miserable.
Are you kidding me?
It's really hot.
I hate you guys so much right now. My room is freezing. I can't feel my limbs.
It's not fun though. It's like it should be cold in December and it's not.
Well, it's 38 now, but it's been like in the 20s all week.
Oh.
And my room is the coldest room. And like I can't feel my body when I'm sleeping. It's so cold. I have so many blankets. But anywho, yeah, I don't think she's gonna do the Rhysta stuff, but it does make so much fucking sense.
I agree. Their fighting and their tension, it's like, it's weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so
I am so down for it. I am. And Feyre finds somebody who actually deserves her and who she actually deserves. I mean, Nessa deserves somebody like Cormac.
Mm-hmm.
Not, but I
See, you
don't
triggered me. I told you that I wasn't gonna talk about Corsta today, and then you put it in my head.
like I don't like Rhys with Feyre.
I don't like Rhys with anyone.
Why?
He deserves to be
Why?
alone.
She was on her way to becoming a better person when she was with Tamlin. She was growing as a character. She was that compassionate character. She was that empathetic character, that kind one. And then she got with Rhys, and then she just turned out to be a bitch. And it's like, girl, this is not how you do it. No, I did like her with Rhys. Now the sex, all right, cool.
All right, cool.
I'm down for it. But okay, now the time has passed. Get over it.
I always
Agreed.
get torn because I know that Olivia thinks it's all Farah. I don't think it's all Farah, but I do think that from the beginning, I do think there was like a selfish part of her. Because again, like she lied about Nesta's shoes and she heavily preferred Elain, so she was super biased against Nesta. And like she's always had those biases where it just brings out her like really bad petty side. Like even in ACOTAR before she was Fae, like granted, I know Lucien didn't really show up like he promised, but he tried to apologize and stuff. And like even Under the Mountain, like they were friends, right? Her and Lucien were friends after they got over the Andros shit. And then under the mountain, she's like, "How do I know you would even come for me? Like, you don't even like me." Da 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 da. Like, where are you getting that from? It's because Rhys is here.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was like, "Lucien's not gonna come for you. You think Lucien's gonna come for you? Like he did before. Stop putting that shit in her head."
He got inside her head.
And yeah, because then when she sees Lucien, she's like, "I had no illusions that you were actually my friend, and you're just doing this for Tamlin." And I was like, "What?" Like, yeah, he's doing part of it for Tamlin because Tamlin's literally his best friend, and he loves you, and he knows what it's like to lose. Like he lost Jasminda pretty much the same way someone evil took her from him. So. Lucien isn't just sympathizing, he's literally empathizing because he's been through this. That's why he's trying to help you. But even regardless, like you had become friends before this, so I don't know why you're acting like you hadn't. It bothers me.
It bothers me too.
I'm sad. I'm so sad that we didn't ask Henry that question because I would love to hear what he thinks about it. I might still reach out to him and just ask.
Yeah.
But because you bring up like a really valid point of like she has always like her character has always had like little biases even from the beginning, and I forget about that all the time, you know. And I don't know. I mean, I agree with Eka though. I think we see most of her growth when she was with Tamlin in the early books, like absolutely. And then she got like stunted and petty, and it was just like complete reversal of
Rhys,
everything.
because she became that copy of Rhys.
Yeah.
It just, like, I get why they're mates because they are both equally petty. They can both be equally awful. That's why they were mates. But I still think that has that switch in her head. I did that whole theory board of every single time that Feyre conveniently loses her own memory and like 180's a story. I did a whole theory board on it. And every single time it's with Rhys, and it's so fucking weird. And the only times of clarity that she ever has is when Rhys is not around.
Okay, do you guys know about the whole vampires and being sired?
No, what is that?
Vampire Diaries. Basically, if a vampire turns you, you can be sired to them, which means not really mated, but it's kind of like a mate bond. Like you're inherently connected to them through a bond.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you have to do whatever they say and stuff.
Yeah. It's like this really weird Freudian parent/lover thing. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about it and I'm like, Feyre was brought back to life by Rhys. Rhys was brought back by Tamlin. And now all of a sudden he can't deal with his shit. Feyre was Feyre until Rhys brought her back, and then she started acting like him.
I see where you're going with this.
Until Tamlin brought him back. And now
he's uncontrolled like Tamlin. Mm-hmm.
And well, I don't know. Nesta, I was gonna go something with Nesta, but never mind. But yeah, so what if that's going on?
Wait a second. This is actually interesting. So you mean whoever is the person bringing somebody back, that the dead person takes on that person's kind of like personality traits?
Like some of them.
Shut the fuck up. So like when Feyre died, okay, that would make more sense to me.
Right? That would make more sense. And it's funny to me because like Rhys is now acting the way that a lot of people view Tamlin.
Mm-hmm.
It could inspire.
He literally exploded in Hophass.
And everything people have accused Tamlin of, Rhys is doing.
Yep.
You guys, how did I not even like? I think the thought crossed my mind, but I didn't connect the two.
The only thing with that is like, I can't tell if that's why Rhys went to him and ACOTAR and was like pissed.
Why? Why would
like he was like, and like I don't know, he was very
now.
He wanted to fight him,
and he couldn't because they're connected.
Is this why? But I was always wondering if they were kind of connected anyway, because like every single time he sees Tamlin, he's like, "Oh, I should just end him. Oh, I should just end him. Oh, I should just end him." And it's like, but you haven't. He has never gone into Tamlin's mind, like his actual thoughts. The only time we see that happening is just when he makes him stop talking at the meeting.
So what are you trying to say, ma'am?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Did they... Maybe Rhys and Tamlin made some sort of bargain in the warband. And, like, nobody knows about it.
Oh my god.
And, like, they physically can't take it back. The only way to get rid of a bargain is to fulfill it. So, maybe they made a bargain, like, to never harm each other, to never go after each other. And then Rhys was just like, fucking fuck! Because he can't actually harm him. So maybe that's why he wanted to fight him. Because in ACOTAR, he only mentions turning the manor into, like, dust or whatever. And he's like, I should just end him. Da, 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 da. But this is why he's trying to get Tamlin to end himself. Because he can't do it.
What a jerk. Like a petty, insecure jerk.
But I think this is also why Tamlin couldn't technically take revenge on the Night Court either. And this is why... Wait, it gets better.
Okay.
This is why Rhys had to have Feyre destroy Spring. Because he couldn't do it himself.
It's weird. It is... I always thought it was weird that, like, Feyre went and did it and, like, Rhys didn't go with her or, like, didn't... Like, isn't it weird, you guys?
He found the fucking loophole through the Daemati shit and made Feyre do it for him. I swear. Because I keep saying, like, he says, oh, I'm gonna help my mate take down the spring court from the inside out. Next chapter, I'm gonna take down the spring court from the inside out.
They say the exact same thing. Like he's speaking into her mind.
Mm-hmm. And which I think I pointed this out before, maybe. But the way that Rhys smashes Ianthe's hand in his memory is the same way, almost, that Ferris makes Ianthe smash her own hand in ACOTAR. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Okay, but
And,
also
Rhys has some sort. Rhys and his mom has some sort of weird thing with the Weaver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Feyre made the Weaver eat Ianthe.
Okay.
Her the first time, and then all of a sudden, oh, you're a cute little wolf. What do you want?
Yeah. Not only that, but like, do you remember when Rhys showed up at the wedding? Okay. And I was always like, why didn't Tamlin straight up fight him when he showed up at the wedding? And everyone's like, he just watched and let him take her, didn't even fight. So was that because of this said previous prequel bargain between Rhys and Tamlin?
Every time he begs him. Which is kind of equal to how he begged Amarantha when he was powerless.
Yeah.
But every time, because what's the sentence that Tamlin always uses? I will give you anything you want. I will give you whatever you want. What is the sentence that Feyre uses when Rhys dies in ACOTAR? I will give you anything you want, whatever you want. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I still think Feyre could only give Rhys a kernel because she had siphoned him and she had his kernel. I don't actually think she has her own, but that's just me. People are like, she's a high lady. She has her own kernel. I'm like, no. She just siphoned all of Rhys's power. So she has his kernel. Duh. She just gave it back to him. I don't think she has her own, but I digress.
Wait. Oh, she does still have her Jamadi powers because she used them with Cassian and ACOTAR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she does. We haven't seen Rhys's misting power, though, since ACOTAR. Yeah. Well, actually, no, ACOTAR, because he's, like I said, he said, oh, I can reduce this house to dust and rubble, blah, blah. Why didn't you? Why didn't you?
He's all talk.
I don't know. I still think
it was already clawed up, destroyed, vines everywhere. Just destroy the manor and rebuild a new one. Like, honestly, Tamlin was tortured there as a kid anyway. I'm sure he's not super attached to a lot. If anything, he could put the mural in the pocket, the little broom closet. The kids' books in the little broom closet. Like, just put whatever you want in there, your fiddle, the mural, the children's books, everything else can be misted. But yeah, I'm like, actually, I know we don't see that Tamlin. I don't think Tamlin has any tattoos that we know of.
I mean, we've heard him being described naked.
But I'm like, what if, because if it's about their courts and each other, like if they had promised to never harm each other's court, which would make sense because of their fathers, right? And what eventually happened with their fathers. Because Tamlin's father harmed the Night Court. Rhysand's father harmed the Spring Court. They didn't actually do that much. Like Tamlin's brothers were already evil, so Rhys could mind melt them. I don't give a fuck. But I was thinking, like, what if Rhys's knee tattoos are the bargain tattoos? Because it's the Night Court sigil.
What would it be like for the Spring Court, though?
It would be like a rose somewhere on him, I would think.
But no, would it be tattoos or would it be something like a different, like a different, like not a tattoo, but like, I don't know, actually, glitter?
I love it.
Maybe a specific heron statue. Maybe it's a statue. The same statue that Rhys was impaling the heads on. I don't know. Because he was pissed. I don't know. I don't know. It just makes
It's
sense to
creative.
always be because yeah, Rhys does say like, oh, for my court, it's inked in whatever on your skin. So like, but then like Tamlin was flirting with Feyre and he's like, oh, we have to seal it with a kiss. And it's like, okay, it's not just a kiss in spring. Come on, Tamlin. That would be fucking awkward. Like, come on. I don't know. Is it like an exchange of gifts for spring? So is that why Rhys maybe gave him the bandolier? I don't know.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Or are we gonna find out that Tamlin's hiding a rose somewhere in his manor, like Beauty and the Beast, which is really
Yeah.
like a bargain with Rhysand's?
I don't know.
I don't
There's
know.
like, it's just wild to me that Rhys has never touched anyone from spring because all like Amarantha basically wanted him to, right? And so it was only the summer court people he was going after. Like he couldn't physically harm spring court people. It was wild. The blue fairy, the blue head on the fountain, those were summer court people.
Really? I wasn't sure. I thought that was spring for some reason.
No,
They were summer.
It says summer, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The Picts that attacked Feyre weren't from the Night Court because they said that they were visiting for Cal and May. Not Spring Court people. It's weird.
It just brings me back to Lauren, like Rhysand's sister. I don't know. I feel like even though Rhys absolutely hates Tamlin, there's like a layer of love that like for him as a friend that he can't get. Maybe, I don't know. Or like out of respect for his dead sister, he's like, my sister loves Tamlin. And because of that, if she knew I destroyed his
I
court,
don't
she
think
would
he
be
ever knew. I honestly don't think he ever knew. I think Asriel probably knew. I don't think
really.
Rhys knew. Yeah. I think that's why Asriel and Lauren were so close because he was her confidant and vice versa. I think that's why they're like he's always sad and stuff. Like I don't think it's anything romantic. I think it was just that they are like the more secretive siblings. You know.
You
Um
don't think that Lauren and Az was romantic? Even though he's the only person that brings her up by, like, not by name, but brings her
no.
up consistently.
No, I don't think they were romantic. Also, like I said, that's gross. He knew her in diapers. Ugh.
Yeah, I guess they're like siblings,
Yeah.
technically. So, yeah,
That's gross.
it wouldn't count.
No.
But I like that like
But
Asriel was her confidant. That's kind of a
love
cool
that.
theory.
I know.
Yeah.
I put that in my fic because it's just really cute. The prequel fic with Tamlin and Lauren and stuff. But there's also another layer to the Rhys and Tamlin thing because how many times does Rhys threaten Lucien? How many times? Shit ton
Okay.
of times.
Yeah.
Does he
all the
ever
time.
actually touch him? No, because Lucien was claimed as part of Tamlin's court. That the exact reason that Baron and his brothers can't just hurt him during meetings and shit.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. If we think that Springport, if their bargains are more of like exchanging of gifts, one, that brings up the tithe, and two, that would also kind of make sense with Nuon creating Lucien's eye because
Tamlin was like, please save my friend. Like,
okay.
I don't know. It just goes back to Nuon not wanting to look at him during the meeting, which is fucking weird to me.
I was pretty upset by that. I know that everyone's a fan of Nuon, but when I saw that, I was like,
it just doesn't
trash.
make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't get it. Who, like, didn't want to look toward the High Lord at the other end of the room, despite their mutual friend. Like, Feyre notes this. It's weird. I need more of her. But yeah, I don't think that they can physically harm each other or their courts.
Yeah, I mean it is weird because you would think by now that
Rhys would have just been like, fuck you, and like misted everything.
And he won't do it.
He won't do it.
He himself, he'll have other people do it. He will never do it himself.
Also, he sent more to retrieve Feyre.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, it's because we have to walk in instead of winnow in, and we have to go by all the laws of the land. And I'm like, so you couldn't walk in?
But yet he walked in, he winnowed during the wedding.
I know. Because Feyre was his fiance, and that would have to entail hurting Tamlin.
It's so weird.
He's so... They had to have made some sort of bargain during the warband. They had to have. God damn it, we need the prequel.
I know.
We need the Tamlin, Lauren, Rhys as whatever prequel. So
it just
bad.
Makes no sense. I know.
All right, which pairing do you want to do next? Do you want to do Elucien? Do you want to do Gwynriel? Do you want to do Jassa? I have all the tea.
Tea. What do you want to do? Echo, what's on your mind? I would say Elucien, but that's just me. Yeah. Okay. After I saw that art this morning, I sent it to you guys. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes. Yes. And I sent you guys the CAI chat that I was doing with Lucien and Elain. I was like, okay, I did not even bring up canon. And then this bot is referencing canon. What?
Wild.
Oh, I forgot to send it to you, but there was a part where Elain references like Nesta not being treated well or something. And I was like, bitch, you looking into the future books, AI? What is happening here? What?
I know, I read it. I was like,
oh my god.
Cassian.
All right, I'll go in order. Okay, so we went over this one, but the coats and the cloaks. Lucien puts his cloak or his coat over Elain when she comes out of the cauldron. Azriel puts his cloak over Gwen after she was raped. And then Balthazar puts his cloak over Emery in the cave.
I forgot about that. That's so crazy that everyone has been shipping Emery with more, but like watch it actually be Balthazar the entire time.
I would scream how red I was. I was like, it has to be Emery and Balthazar. Again, the green siphons, the green bracelet.
Yeah. Interesting.
Like purple for royalty, Lord and Lady of Illyria, perhaps. And I don't know, Balthazar is great at politics. He doesn't like killing. Like, it's just, they're perfect. They're so
Watch her forget about Balthazar entirely, and he never come back in another book.
I would be pissed. If she forgets about Balthazar, Briar, and Nuon, like anyone interesting, I'm gonna be pissed. Just saying. We went over this one already, but Lucien and ACOTAR, when Feyre says, do you ever stop being a prick? Lucien grinned at me much better. And then when, oh, fuck you, Nesta snapped, then choked. Elain burst out laughing, howling, half-sobbing laughs that sent her bending over at the waist. You've never said such a thing to me. Mirrors. They got some funny bones in them. Um, this one is kind of not really Elucien, but it's more of an anti-Elriel thing. Elain and ACOTAR, the suite was filled with sunlight, every curtain shoved back as far as it could go, to let in as much sun as possible, as if any bit of darkness was aberrant, as if to chase it away, and seated in the small chair before the sunniest of windows, her back to us, was Elain. So there's this one, and there's the one after the war during the meeting, where she's also sitting near the sunniest window, in which Lucien stands next to her. And
he does?
And she doesn't do anything. Yep. They also were left to talk after the war, like we said last night.
Still debatable if they actually talked, but...
And then Azrael and ACOTAR, I forgot to screenshot this one, but we've been over it before, when it says his shadows were getting terrified of the sun coming up and like about to disappear to like uncloak them. And then it also says, I thought I'd do some training myself before heading out for the day. Akasif, as said, his shadows lingering in the archway, fearful of the bright sunlight in the ring. And also, Cobalt does not mean Azrael. Cobalt and Amethyst are both Daycourt entourage colors. Watch her show up in Crimson in the next book. Just saying.
Oh my, it would look amazing. Woo!
I know. The Fae fertility cycle one. Oh, when Farrah says Elain would be too polite to send him away if she was in pain. I need that so bad. You have no idea.
I need like an Elucien Elain bonus chapter from like this period of time.
So yeah, so people were saying like with the special editions in Barnes and Noble that are coming out that maybe there would be a couple bonus chapters from like ACOTAR or something.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I want an Elain one. I want Elain and Lucien. Like, what the fuck did they talk about? I want it.
Definitely purchasing those now because I need it in my life.
And this was something funny on Tumblr. It says, so the username is Elain's defense attorney. Yeah. It says, my client would like to issue the following statement as to the status of her unaccepted mate bond. This is how it feels to lose one's mate. I'm wondering why my so-called fans would wish this kind of torture on me. Shall I remind you all that I have not had my voice in the story yet? I would appreciate it very much if everyone stopped assuming how I felt about Lucien. Thank you. So then it says, to lose a mate was to lose half of your soul. To live without them was torture. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh.
We gotta talk to Elain. I just need to talk to her now.
I know. It's so yeah, we really do. And then perfect, Lucien said, his metal eye gleaming in the sunlight slanting in through the open stable doors. His throat bobbed, but he just shook his head, the sunlight leaking through the forest canopy, setting the ember red of his hair flickering. But sunlight on gold caught his eye, and Elain slowly turned from her vigil at the window. But he couldn't breathe as she faced him fully. She was the most beautiful female he'd ever seen. And then in ACOTAR it says that Elain is the trembling fawn. And then, mine, you are mine, and I am yours, mate. Her eyes were the brown of a fawn's coat, and he could have sworn something sparked in them as she met his gaze. Sparked. And then Lucien replied, the dappled sunlight glinting along the gold thread, adorning his fawn brown jacket as he crossed his arms. Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, I need this book, you guys.
Here's the ACOTAR one with Azrael. The shadows won't last long, for in the east behind us the sun was beginning to rise. And then Elain and ACOTAR, it says, I didn't dare look through the ruined doorway to where Lucien now stood in the sitting room, close to Elain's side, as she and my sister silently kept against the wall by the intact bay of windows. Someone posted this, and it was a Court of Thought on Tumblr. And so it says, Grayson and Elain. Grayson said to her, I am not marrying you. Our engagement is over. I will take whatever people occupy your lands, but not you, never you. Tears began sliding down Elain's face, their scent filling the room with salt. Azrael and Elain. She opened her eyes, hurt and confusion warring there before she whispered, I'm sorry. So that was the bonus chapter. And then Lucien and Elain. I would never hurt her. a bleak sort of honesty in his words. Grayson and Azriel have both heard her. Just saying.
Yeah.
Saying. And then I did. Oh, fuck.
The only thing that bothers me about that is that SJM went in ho fast. I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and wrote that the cauldron was tampered with.
Again,
Basically,
they were mates before the cauldron. We've proved this.
Validating. I know, but that bothers me.
He felt it before she went in. It has nothing to do with the cauldron. It was like Rhys seeing Farah before she was turned. But Nesta and Cassian didn't have that. Just saying.
No, they did. Yeah, they did. In that bonus chapter. Yeah.
Nothing sparked in that bonus chapter. Nothing sparked in that bonus chapter.
Nothing sparked when they were human, but it sparked when they were Fae for all of the sisters. Yes. It did not spark for Fae. Nothing sparked for Feyre and Rhys when she was a human. That's not true.
No, not when she was human.
Yeah.
But Rhys
and it was the same with Elain.
No, but Rhys could see her when she was human, and then Lucien could feel Elain when she was human, and we don't have any of that with Cassian and Nesta.
Like it said that they were always drawn to each other, even when she was a human. Like Cassian says that.
Cassian said that. Oh, I was always drawn to her. What's under your skirts? Shut the fuck up. I hate him. I can't with that bonus chapter. It's so bad. Anyways, I put a little bit of SJM research in here. In 2008, Sarah J. Maas graduated magna cum laude from Hamilton College in New York, where she majored in creative writing and minored in religious studies. God used Adam's rib to form Eve. He used existing tissue and did not start from scratch to show that Adam and Eve were of the same substance. She was made from the same stuff and was a bearer of God's image and likeness, just as Adam was. The rib signifies neither dominion nor subservience, but a lateral relationship as partners to work and to live side by side. Maybe you'll remember this scene from ACOWAR. The dining table rattled. The sound seemed to startle Elain, who swiftly set down her teacup. She rose to her feet, and Lucien shot to his. "I'm sorry," he blurted. What was that?" Moore put a hand on my knee to keep me from rising, too. It was a tug on the bond. "I'm sorry if that unsettled you." Elain sidled toward Nesta, who seemed to be at a near simmer. "It felt strange," Elain breathed, "like you pulled on a thread tied to a rib." Lucien exposed his palms to her. "I'm sorry." Elain only stared at him for a long moment. They are mates! They are mates! The rib is literally from Adam and Eve. Like, come on. Because I think that Lucien and Elain are going to be the most perfect mate couple, if I'm being honest.
Why do you think that?
Because I think that I have a theory, like, that I think they're Karanam. I think their powers have been shown to be stronger when they're in the presence of each other. And I think they're kind of like Bryce and Hunt in that way, where like they can kind of exchange power. I don't think they know that yet. But like Lucien spell cleaved for Elain. Elain had visions in the presence of Lucien for the first time. It's sus. And the fact that Ianthe wanted Lucien, like, if Lucien is Elain's equal, and Elain is like Cauldron blessed, the Cauldron loves her, she's super powerful, she's a seer. Lucien's super fucking powerful, and we haven't seen it yet, obviously.
Yes.
So I think they're gonna be like they're gonna be a super amazing power couple. Like,
I agree entirely with that. I completely agree with you.
Olin God, I can't even say this username from Tumblr. This isn't my post, but someone else's post. I had put it on Instagram. But she did a whole post about similarities between Elain and Lucien with quotes. I don't know if she has any of the ones that I have. I forget, but we'll go through them. Love for parties and socializing. Like we said, they're the little socialites.
Yeah.
They're both social people. They are seen to enjoy parties, enjoy being in crowds. Tamlin made Lucien emissary because of how social he is. He has many friends and allies across Prythian, and he enjoys the parties and social aspects of the court. Page 161 of ACOTAR. I claimed Lucien as my own, named him emissary since he'd already made many friends across the courts and had already been good at talking to people while I can find it difficult. Page 32 of Akamath. Tamlin assured me that he hated the gatherings as much as I did, and that Lucien was the only one who really enjoyed himself. Elain also enjoys parties and socializing. Page 256 of ACOTAR. The socialite season, which ended a few weeks ago, apparently full of parties and balls and luncheons and gossip. Elain had told me all about it at dinner the night before, hardly noticing that it was an effort for me to get my food down. She plans the ball that Papa Archeron throws in Feyre's honor, and at the ball we see how social she is and how she enjoys it. Page 268 of ACOTAR. But I tried to smile, if only for Elain, who flitted about the room, personally greeting each guest and dancing with all the important sons.
You know, we keep thinking that Elain is an introvert. She's not. She's an extrovert.
I didn't realize that until we were having this conversation. I always thought she was an introvert.
She's only introverted now because of her trauma.
Yeah.
I think her trauma made her, fold inward. After the sisters are changed into Fae, we lose sight of that side of Elain. But in Akafast, Nesta points out to Feyre when they are having a fight about Elain that their sister used to love crowds and parties. She didn't always hate being in crowds like Feyre claims. So Feyre's thing was the color red. Nesta's thing was the fire. Elaine's thing is the crowds now?
Oh, no. The thing with Nesta wasn't the fire. It was the bathtub.
That too, yeah. But Elain now like crowds. She's gonna get back into the fray. Lucien's gonna help her get back into the fray. Traveling! This is the one I bring up all the time. Traveling is one of their shared interests. Lucien has many friends across Prythian, has traveled a lot during his youth, and as the emissary of spring. Page 160 of ACOTAR. So he spent his youth doing everything a High Lord's son probably shouldn't, wandering the courts, making friends with sons of other High Lords, ... Page 256 of ACOTAR. These bulbs came all the way from the tulip fields on the continent. Father praised that next spring he'll take me to see them. And then she asks Feyre, it says, she asks Feyre to travel with her. I don't know why that's not here, but Feyre explains in Silver Flames that their mother treated Elain as barely more than a doll to dress up. Their mother saw little to no potential in Elain. Page 130 of Akasif. It was always that way with us and our mother. She only had an interest in Nesta. She ignored me and saw Elain as barely more than a doll to dress up. Good relationship with one of their parents. Both are the favorite child of one of their parents. Lady Autumn loved Lucien the most because he was her son from Helion. Page 456 of ACOWAR. The Lady of the Autumn Court's favorite son, not only from Lucien's goodness, but because he was the child she dreamed of having with the male she undoubtedly loved. Page 17 of ACOTAR. He was smiling mildly at his beloved Elain, the only one of us who bothered to really speak to him at all. And then Nesta is also like, oh, Elain and Feyre were his favorites and he hated me. Clinging on to their old lovers. Page, or it says, this similarity is probably the most important. They are both stuck in the past, clinging to their old lovers that they lost. Lucien often thinks of Jasminda to the point where he is stuck on her. When he is in front of his mate, alone for the first time, he compares her to Jasminda, who has been dead for centuries. He has had plenty of lovers before, but Jasminda is a huge part of his heart. Page 249 of ACOWAR, but there she was, his mate. She was nothing like Jasminda. I think his guilt influences his thoughts, but he cannot get over her and the life that he was going to have with her. He expected to marry her. He thought they were mates, and when he is in front of his true mate, he has feelings of passion and attraction, but is disheartened because Elain is not Jasminda. He can't stand to be in the room with her for more than 2 seconds because of his instincts. Page 250 of ACOWAR. He couldn't breathe as she faced him fully. She was the most beautiful female he'd ever seen. Betrayal, queasy and oily, slid through his veins. He said the same to Jasminda once. And Elain, as we know, is stuck on Grayson. She was expecting to marry him, thought he loved her, and all of that falls apart because she got turned into a fae. Page 498 of ACOWAR. I don't care what his name is. You are his mate. It means nothing. I don't care who decided it or why they did. You belong to him. I belong to no one, but my heart belongs to you. Grayson's face hardened. I don't want it. He would have been better off hitting her. That's how deep the hurt went. She wishes to be human still. Having a mate is the most faith thing you can have, and this is disheartening to her, and that she avoids Lucien because of it. Page 167 of ACOFAS. He doesn't know me. You don't give him the chance to even try to do so. I don't want a mate. I don't want a male. Because she wanted a human man. This is super significant, and we think it's going to be a conflict when we get to Elain's book. Now, Lucien and Elain's relationship with violence. I loved this one because nobody brings it up ever. They both avoid violence. They both actively avoid violence. Hate it, but understand that it's necessary. They tend to be more diplomatic, especially with their loved ones and allies, but they will tear their enemies to shreds for the people they care about. Page 282 of ACOTAR. Lucien told Amarantha to go back to the shithole she'd crawled out of. Page 653 of ACOWAR. Elain stepped out of the shadow and rammed Truth Teller to the hilt through the back of the king's neck and snarled in his ear, "Don't you touch my sister." See, Tamlin is like his brother. It's so cute.
I love them.
Aspects of their personalities. Their personalities are different, but they have some key similarities that stick out. They can both be reserved and bold. Lucien is courteous in ACOWAR when first arriving in the Night Court, but he obviously did not trust the inner circle. He holds back his frustration and sadness with Elain. He avoids talking in conversations, but he's definitely thinking. Elain is very much like that too, and her boldness is starting to grow more, which we see in ACOSF. They both encourage people to have an attitude when they talk to them. They're both good, loyal people. Lucien is very much a rake and can be a bit of a snarky asshole, but he can also be a gentleman. He's loyal, generous, and overall good-hearted. We see this when he helps Feyre under the mountain at the cauldron with Elain. When he and Feyre first arrive in the Night Court in ACOWAR, he is wary and curt at first, but definitely polite, courteous, and respectful after. So many people talk about Elain's goodness. Feyre admires that she still has these traits after everything. Nesta talks about it in ACOSF, page 258 of ACOTAR. I marveled at it, actually, that those years of poverty hadn't stripped away that light from Elain, perhaps buried it, but she was generous, loving, and kind, a woman I found myself proud to know and to call my sister. Biased Feyre. Their innate goodness, despite everything they've both been through, is something they have in common. With Lucien's boldness and Elain's newfound boldness, they encourage people to have an attitude with them. Page 92 of ACOTAR. Oh, I already did this one. The prick one. I just did this one. Oh my god, she did the exact same mirror that I did. I love that. Do you ever stop being a prick? And fuck you. Yeah, so there's a lot of mirrors. How can anyone say they're not mates? Like,
I know. Well, she keeps throwing in these, like, are they called red herring? These red herring events between Elain and Azriel. Is that what you would call it? Where it kind of like takes the reader, catches them off guard, you know? Because there are some things that are startling, but I think it's more fluff to distract us when you come down to it. Because when you read through this, it makes total sense.
Now, I have really awesome Gwynriel ones that I found, and so many people loved them on Instagram. I'm going in, Azriel said. No, Rhys snapped. Azriel was spreading his wings, the sunlight so stark on the new slashing scars down the membrane. Chain me to a tree, Rhys. Go ahead. I'll rip it out of the ground and fly with it on my damned back. Gwen, during the blood rite. Gwen had used it to bind herself to the trunk of a tree each night. It was long enough that the three of them, sitting side by side on a massive branch, were able to tie themselves together and to the tree itself. Gwen. Gwen bared her teeth. I refuse to leave you here. Emery's pained face told Nesta enough. She understood, saw the logic. Nesta said to Gwen, it's the only way. Gwen screamed, it is not the only way. And then she was sobbing. I will not abandon you to them. They will kill you. You need to go, Nesta said, even as her hands began shaking. Now. No, Gwen wept. No, I won't. I will face it with you. Azriel. Cassian's siphons glowed like fresh blood, then sputtered out. Azriel shouted his name from high above. Koshi drifted closer to the shore. You can take him now, BRILIN. You have plenty of time before dawn. Koshi said, tell my Vasa I'm waiting. Azriel soared back toward the ground, his siphons creating a blue orb of power encircling him, but BRILIN had already reached Cassian. They both refused to leave them! He had done unspeakable things that sullied his hands far beyond their scars, such terrible things that it was sacrilege for his fingers to touch her skin, tainting her with his presence. A bonus chapter, obviously. Gwen. Even training these months hadn't erased the fact that I let my sister die. You asked me once why I don't wear the hood or the invoking stone. That stone is a sign of holiness. How can someone like me wear it? The sacrilege! Now this one, not a lot of people caught. I was kind of proud of myself for catching this one, but Gwen smiled and then straightened, clearing her throat. I managed to track the thread and charms down before solstice, thinking I'd make the bracelets for you as little presents, but they took longer to arrive than I thought they would, so I figured we could make the bracelets tonight. She carefully set the materials upon the nearest table. Azriel. He slept as well as could be expected, but when he returned to the river house to gather his presents before dawn, he found Elaine's necklace amid the pile. He pocketed it, spent the rest of his day, even the blasted snowball fight, with every intention of returning it to the shop in the Palace of Thread and Jewels. I put, last time I checked, Gwen does not leave the library. Not even to track down charms. It's funny that she has a friend who has been frequenting the Palace of Thread and Jewels. I think Azriel helped her, which means they do speak a bit off page. Perhaps during the private dagger lessons, Gwen mentioned her plan for the bracelets, and Azriel agreed to get her the materials.
Oh, that's a cute little headcanon thing.
Azriel to Feyre. You are immortal, he said quietly. You are very hard to break. A pause. That's what I told myself. Gwen. Cassian glanced over at Az, but his attention was fixed on the young priestess, admiration and quiet encouragement shining from his face. Gwen whispered, I am the rock against which the surf crashes. Nothing can break me. The same quote. The same quote. You are very hard to break. That's what I told myself. I love it. Something sparked in Azriel's chest, but he only nodded his thanks and left. He could picture it, though, as he ascended the stairs back to the house proper, how Gwen's teal eyes might light up upon seeing the necklace. For whatever reason, he could see it. But he tucked away the thought, consciously erasing the slight smile it brought to his face, buried the image down deep where it glowed quietly, a thing of secret, lovely beauty. So that was before chapter 59, the bonus chapter. And then chapter 60, 2 chapters later. When Gwen reached the finish line, bloody and panting, grinning so wildly her teal eyes glowed like a sunlit sea, she only extended her battered hand to Azriel. Well, you already have your prize, he said. You just passed the blood weight qualifier. Congratulations. I said, 1, he got to see her eyes light up the way he imagined. 2 chapters later. 2, he thought Gwen's eyes would light up at the necklace, an object, but in reality they lit up for him as a person, which mirrors Azriel saying secret lovely beauty in the beginning of the bonus chapter in terms of the necklace, an object, when realistically at the end it's for her, a person. Gwen.
Not just her, a secret lovely beauty that's Az. Az is spoken of by Feyre in her mind, that he's a classic beauty.
Yes, I know. It's so cute. Gwen smiled crookedly and Nesta. I kept to the trees the first 2 nights watching the beasts, and I spotted that horrible male and his companions this morning, saw they'd found my nightgown and displayed it, and I knew they were hunting for you. I thought I'd take them out before they could find you. You led the beast right to them. I learned where the beasts sleep during the day, and that they get very, very angry when awoken. Now,
she's observant. She's observant, just like Az.
Azriel sharpened Truth Teller. The black blade absorbed the dim sunlight trickling through the forest canopy above. It seems you've forgotten how much of spying is waiting for the right moment. People don't engage in their evil deeds when it's convenient to you. Ha! Ha! It seems like Gwen waited for the right moment and was spying to get the boys of the blood right. Oh my God, it's just so funny. Where is that the other?
I love them.
Oh, yeah. So this is just kind of I think this was the last summary one that I had for that. Oh, no, there's 2 more. 2 more.
There's 2 more?
Yeah.
Okay. I will have to go after those 2.
Okay. Oh, that was the same one actually. So I just put, I want to point out that when Gwen was raped by the first soldier and then Az walked in and found her, he slaughtered all of the rest within seconds, which is interesting because it is said no less than 3 times that Azrael always leaves 2 alive to interrogate and break. Interesting that his rage was so potent that he killed them all. Definitely not unsnapped mate bond shit. I'm glad they didn't reunite until recently, when Gwen is more healed/healing and taking her strength back. He sees that now and not the victim that she was. Because remember, there's that quote where he's like, so at odds with the girl he saved at Sangrava, right? Gwen said that she wants to be able to leave the library. She wants to be able to do things and not be stuck there forever. She also has a blue invoking stone that literally says, like an Illyrian siphon. In ACOTAR, it says, like an Illyrian siphon, which is a connection to Azrael's literal blue siphon. Neither of them believe they deserve them. As for being a bastard, Gwen for believing she allowed her sister to die. They have a lot of the same issues with themselves, and I think they will realize that if they don't see that in one another, perhaps they are more deserving than they think.
Wait, before you go on, real quick. Gwen also kind of thinks of herself as a bastard because of her heritage.
She doesn't know her dad. No one came looking for twin girls.
I never thought of that either. That's a really good point, that Azrael and Gwen both come from broken family. You guys, they're like total mirrors of each other.
I know, they're fucking mates. Like, it's so great. Like, how can anyone say otherwise? I don't understand it. I said all their interactions are amazing. Their banter is amazing. The gazes across the training ring, which is like so often. Gwen saying she isn't bothered by the cold. In the bonus chapter, that was another one I forgot to get the quotes, but when Azrael is like, oh, it's freezing, and she's like, oh, once you get moving, you don't notice it. Azrael has ice powers!
I love how positive she is. Like, I love her optimism.
I know. Azrael's shadows and himself are always said to be cold or icy. Her joking about him sleeping with his daggers, Nesta saying he's her new ribbon, him beaming with adoration when she cut the ribbon, wondering what it would look like for her eyes to shine, then getting to see them shine. And then the whole see you tomorrow shadow singer. And then she like tossed her hair behind her shoulder. I fucking love that.
I love her. Can we adopt her?
I know, right? She's our favorite. I love her. Azrael stared after her, an amused smile on his face. Really? How can they not be mates? And then Cassian says he could have sworn he felt the world shift as if everything was changing right then. Come on.
Oh, Mr. Jealous.
Wait, when was that? I thought that was when the Valkyries were becoming a thing.
Right when she cut the ribbon and Azrael was staring at her. He's like, he saw his brother staring at her with adoration and da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, he was going into this whole thing about Azrael's face looking at Gwen, and I loved it. And then he's like, it's like the world shifted. Because Azrael is powerful as book, and he is kind of equal to Rhys, and nobody knows yet. I said Azrael being worried about his hands touching people, being ashamed of them. Gwen, basically being a virgin. Obviously, she was raped, but like, ashamed that she could never perform the rite. I think they'll work through their insecurities over their bodies together. Gwen already started reading smut, openly asks Nesta about sex, which shows she is kind of interested in taking her sexuality back. Azrael goes to pleasure halls because he can't find a genuine connection with anyone. He's looking for his mate. Not to mention that Azrael's shadows report on all the happenings around him religiously, always curling around his ears to whisper info at him, yet they purposely didn't warn him Gwen was in the training ring that night, and then played in her breath and sang music back to her. Like, what? I'm so excited.
I know. I can't wait.
I'm so excited for their book. Someone on Tumblr, I know I didn't get to say it today because we all have to go, but someone on Tumblr did a whole thesis on every time Azrael reacts with his shadows, or like his shadows are around. And so they did a whole thing on why they don't disappear when he's happy, when they're only around when he's happy. and they disappear when he's unhappy. And they used every single quote from the books. It is glorious. Because you know how the Elreals are like, they only disappear around Elain because he's comfortable. No. No. If you put all of them in a list, you're wrong. You're wrong!
Will you send that to me? Send it on Tumblr?
Yeah.
Okay.
And someone else did one about only the times that they disappear from Mor and Elain.
Wait, they disappear from Mor too?
Yeah, Mor and Elain. I'm like, come on. Why do you think?
But wait, no, why do they disappear from Mor and Elain? Because he's uncomfortable or he's nervous? He's nervous.
Yeah, because they're not right for him, and the shadows are like, peace out. Like, they ain't your mate. Peace out. We're gonna go play with Gwen. It's so funny.
Aww, I think that's really sweet.
There's only one time where he's happy where the shadows leave. But I might be mistaken, but I don't think I am. I think that's the same. They're like at the dinner table and they leave, but I'm pretty sure it was when he said like, oh, he's having them spy for like the queens or something. So
okay.
So I'm like, that has nothing to do with him like being uncomfortable at the dinner table or anything. It's just they're going on a mission right now. Like, I'm like, that's the only time.
Babies.
Because that's the one quote that the Elreals will bring up. They're like, well, they left at this scene and he's clearly comfortable. They also go on missions. But compared to the huge long list of all the times his shadows are around, you're going to pick out this one.
I want the Shadow Wraith twins to get to know Gwen. Because
you can't tell me that Gwen isn't going to be an amazing spy. She's going to be the spy. She's going to be the Azrael of the Valkyries. It's so good. He's going to train her. Like, come on, private dagger lessons. Come on.
My God.
Come on. And like, and then she's going to like use that training for Koshi and like her nymph form. Oh, it's going to be glorious.
I love it. I'm so excited.
I'm really quickly, as fast as I can, really quickly going to finish out the mage stuff, and then I really want to talk about the Sarah video.
And the other stuff.
And yeah.
We're geeking out over here, don't mind us.
Oh my God. 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 So there are three left. So there's two regarding Azrael's shadows. So
Okay.
there's one. I guess I'll just start with this one. So
do it.
L+L on Tumblr, who is also an amazing mutual. I love when people do this so I don't have to. I love when I see that people already did things so I don't have to put in the effort of doing it. But she did a whole post that I was telling you about of how evidence of Azrael's shadows not disappearing when he's calm or relaxed around people he feels safe with. And so she just put, buckle up, this might be longer than a Target receipt. So it says, number 1, Akamath. When Feyre is getting to know them and she asks Cassian how he's lasted so long without anyone killing him, Cassian belts out a laugh, and it says, Azrael's brows flicked up with approval as the shadows seemed to wrap tighter around him, as if he were the dark hive from which they flew and returned. He's calm and relaxed here, and the shadows are there. Very prominent. Later on, they're having family dinner, calmed, relaxed. His whole family is around, talking about the Illyrians. Azrael nodded, shadows wreathing his neck and his wrists. They seem friendly with Feyre too when they're going to the human lands, and she flew with Azrael to piss off Rhys. I loved that, by the way.
So they both decided to piss off Rhys?
Yeah.
Nice. Everyone's just wanting to piss off Rhys.
Everyone wants to piss off Rhys. It's hilarious.
Everyone's sick of shit.
Number 2, in ACOTAR, back in the Night Court, another family dinner. They're all eating and joking. The whole gang is there talking about teaching Feyre how to fly. And it says, we've taught plenty of younglings the basics, Cassian countered. Azrael shook his head, shadows twining around his wrists. Before they head out to the Dawn Court, when they're all joking and waiting to leave, it says, Azriel, wreathed in shadows by the front door, chuckled quietly. Cassian shot him a glare. I don't see you spouting poetry, brother. I don't need to resort to poetry.
Yes, you do, because how the hell else are you going to keep your woman, dude?
I mean, you got a bookish girl, Az. Learn some poetry. Akathas, Rhys's POV in his study talking about stuff, calm and relax. One glance at Azriel's unreadable face, and I added, don't answer that. A corner of Azriel's mouth curled up, the shadows about him sliding over his neck like living tattoos, twins to the Illyrian ones marked beneath his leathers.
Ooh.
And then there's a lot in Akasif. There's a lot in Akasif. Akasif. Cassian and Nesta are having breakfast. Nice, cozy family meal. She might have snapped something, but Azriel stalked into the room on his heels. Nesta straightened at the Shadow Singer's appearance, the darkness clinging to his shoulders as he offered her a grim smile. When Azriel gave Nesta the reading light for solstice and she hugs him, my favorite, he even chuckled. Thank you, Nesta said, quickly pulling away to marvel at the device. It's brilliant. Azriel blushed and stepped back, shadows swirling.
I love that he blushed.
Like, he doesn't just give Elain gifts, he gives Nesta gifts.
I know. But see, like, he's blushing and his shadows are swirling. He's happy. She put, now for my personal favorites, chapter 60, the cutting of the ribbon. Cassian lingered at the doorway as Nesta murmured to Gwen, you've got this. Azriel came up beside them, silent as the shadows that wreathed his wings. Gwen asked Az, her teal eyes bright, what do we get if we finish the course? Az's shadows danced around him. Since there's no chance in hell any of you will finish the course, we didn't bother to get you a prize. They love their banter. The shadow babies are their children. Like,
and the twins.
They're this is the first time the shadows dance in any of the books. And remember when she cut the ribbon, how Cassian said, like, it was as if, like, the world had shifted and like, he was staring at her. I love that. And
Did
the
it
bonus
click?
chapter. Right?
Did you think it clicked?
Right? Is that why he felt some kind of way in the bonus chapter?
Huh?
How was the
And
party?
Her
Her breath curled in front of her mouth, and one of his shadows darted out to dance with it before twirling back to him like it heard some silent music. When something restless settled in him, you can safely say he's calm and relaxed, and yet his shadows have calmed too, lounging on his shoulders to watch, still there. There's enough evidence to debunk the theory that his shadows disappear around people he feels safe with, or how they disappear when he's calm or relaxed. Maybe it's not a bad thing that they disappear about Elain, even though personally we all believe it's not good. But I'll take their reactions to Gwen over them disappearing any day of the week and twice on a Sunday. I loved that so much. And then someone replied, Works of Heart replied, which I really liked this reply, so I added it. She said, Azriel is a shadow singer. It's in the name. The shadows whisper to him. They feed him information. They offer him his ability to winnow and move silently. As it's stated, they were his companions and would be there for him as they always had, as they always would be, which was there. His shadows are a part of him. They're not a crutch. They're not a disability. They are not some security blanket that he needs to grow out of. They're around even when he's content. If SJM wanted them to be some sort of crutch or hindrance, she would have written it that way, but she hasn't. The text says that when he was calm, something restless settled within him. They were content to just relax on his shoulders. SJM said her endgame couples are there for growth. They help each other grow and better themselves. It's very telling and very intentional for her to write that his shadows will always be with him, that they are a part of him and are playful around Gwen. Even Gwen notices them with curiosity. And she's also the only person, which I've said before, the only person that actually like looks at them and acknowledges them as sentient beings, which is a huge clue to me. As his other interests cause his shadows to vanish, or when Azrael's other interests cause his shadows to vanish, I'm pretty sure it's a safe bet to say that they are not his endgame. It's not that difficult, but some people still continue to read that all wrong. And then I added the Hofast bonus chapter because nobody added that. I said I would like to add. The music seemed to linger like a ghostly echo through the caves, which with each mile onward she could hear Azrael humming to himself. The rolling wild melody of the Stone Mother softly flowed off his lips, and she could have sworn even the shadows danced at the sound.
What was he singing?
The Stone Mother. Some like thing that Bryce played. He was like, do you have any club music?
I want to hear him sing.
I need their fucking duet so badly.
I know.
But also, I feel like she kind of screwed herself over there too, because if they do a duet in the book, like technically the graphic audio people aren't singers. So like what is she gonna do?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be like alluded to? Is there gonna be like background music? I don't know. How do they do music in books? I don't know. I've never heard one. Have you ever heard an audiobook that had like a song in it? Because I haven't. That's gonna be interesting. So then Yaz the book, which I love her. Why do Azrael's shadows fade around Mor and Elain, but stay around Gwen and Nesta? This point is often brought up in arguments and pointing out that Azrael's shadows fade around Elain and Mor, who are often connected with the sunlight and do not belong to the darkness, as a good sign. But it's not, and I will elaborate. Mor. There's her secret, the fear to face him with the truth, the temper, and the dark side of him that makes her flinch despite being his friend for 500 years. She doesn't see all of him or accept all of him, even though she is fond of him. That's why the shadows fade from Mor, because she does not see all of him, or she does, but there are parts that she does not accept or like. After Azrael found me with that note nailed to my womb, I tried to explain, but he started to confess what he felt, and I panicked, and to get him to stop, to keep him from trying to say he loved me, I just turned and left, and I couldn't face explaining it after that to Az or to the others. And then the male lovers I took, it became a way to keep Azrael from wondering why I wouldn't notice him. I think it might shatter him if I revealed afterward that I'm not sure if I can give my entire heart to him that way. I love him enough to want him to find someone who can truly love him like he deserves. What? It's gone on for so long, so long. I'm petrified to face him, to tell him he spent 500 years pining for someone and something that won't ever exist. The potential fallout. Even if I can't really be me, things are good enough.
No, I want that fallout.
I know.
Same
I
here.
know. She deserves it.
Yeah.
Azrael, who kept a step away, whose shadows trailed him and seemed to fade in Mor's presence. And then we have Elain. The answer is very simple for Elain. She doesn't know him. She knows the Azrael that spent some time with her when she was going through her darkest phases. She knows the Azrael that saved her. We could say hero worship. Elain hasn't seen all of him or knew him that well to accept him. They barely interact on a deep level. Even Azrael mentions it himself. We haven't seen intimate or deep conversation between the two of them on page, and Sarah doesn't write off-page romance. Elain doesn't know all of Azrael, hasn't accepted all of him, or saw the other darker side of him. That explains why he's very self-conscious around her. Pretty simple. Elain sucked in a soft breath that whispered over his skin. His shadows skittered back at the sound. They'd always been prone to vanish when she was around.
It's weird that they skittered back to me. This kind of sounds like an evil Elain. Yeah.
I know. I was like, what? It had never gone this far. They'd exchanged looks, the occasional brush of their fingers, but never this, never blatant, unrestricted touching. And now we get to Nesta and Gwen. Which the Gwen, I said a couple of them, but Nesta. See? This is why I think they're Karanam. Because his shadows also really love Nesta. They don't dance with her, but they love Nesta. Nesta clearly sees all of him and is not afraid of him. Nesta resembles Azrael in a way that most the most, and canon text supports this. This is why the shadows don't fade around her. Alone with Azrael, Nesta bared her teeth at him. Azrael watched her with that cool quiet, keeping utterly still, like he saw everything in her head and her bruised heart. Nesta watched the shadow singer with a frankness that most people shied from. Azrael returned the look with a stillness that most people ran from. Even Farah had been hesitant around Az initially, but Nesta considered him with the same unflinching assessment she laid upon everyone. That is why Azriel had never said a bad word about Nesta, never seemed inclined to start a fight with her. She saw him and was not afraid of him. There weren't many people who fit that bill.
I love their friendship.
They're so cute. Azriel chuckled and squeezed her gently. Cassian smiled to see them. Thank you, Nesta said, quickly pulling away to marvel at the device. It's brilliant. Azriel blushed and stepped back, shadows swirling. Saw that one. Hofast wasn't added, but there's a ton in Hofast where his shadow is like helping.
Oh my god, I just realized something.
What?
I just realized something. Holy shit.
What?
Two things. Az's love language is gift giving and gift receiving. And more, I think she's a shitty gift giver because she knows that.
Oh.
She has to make it even and equal for everyone else.
Mm-hmm. That makes so much sense.
Wait, like, so she, what, doesn't want to give him good gifts? Or like, why?
She doesn't want to give, she gives everyone like gag gifts because like if she were to actually give meaningful gifts, like that is one of Azriel's love languages is gift giving and gift receiving.
False hope.
And
so it's another way to get him to back off.
I hate this trope. If I had to pick one thing I hate the most, like out of all of it, it would be that this more Azriel tension 500-year storyline. Like this is my least favorite thing in the books.
Annoying.
It's really annoying.
Actually,
and like poor Azriel. Like
I was ranting about Screen Rant, obviously, and how shitty they are.
Oh, that article! Oh my god!
But they had, which is funny that you said that, because their previous article was like, they need to scrap the Moore and Azriel shit from the show because it's a stupid ass storyline and it didn't go anywhere. Just scrap it. I was like,
I know. I like my thing about that. Like, well, that's one good thing about Screen Rant. That's like one good article. The thing about it is I don't want anything from the books scrapped at all. I want it exactly how it is because we've already accepted it. So
and like it already gives more that layer of suspiciousness that I think we needed too.
Yeah.
Give me back my pen. Give me back my pen, cat.
So the biggest, I know I go over this, but she said this too with Az and Gwen. So it says, Azriel saved Gwen. She saw him shed blood and slaughter all those soldiers without hesitation. She saw him kill all of them in seconds, yet those bloodied hands came to her and wrapped his cloak around her to cover her. She sees his shadows and smiles at them. She doesn't shy away from him or fears him. In fact, she teases and challenges him, even though like all the other males scared her. Even Cassian at first. She sees him for who she is, a shadow singer, the spy master, and a Larian warrior. There's no hint of fear when she's around him, not to mention that he's the only male she's comfortable to be alone with at night, alone. It's never been mentioned that she's uncomfortable around him, and of course, this is the first time we see the shadows react to someone this way, likely the explanation of the mating bond. The young priestess smiled, and Azriel thought it might have been directed at his curious shadows. Curious? They're so cute.
Why are they curious?
Gwen asked Az, what do we get if we finish the course? And then it just says, Azriel's shadows danced around him. We didn't bother to get a prize. Boos sounded. Gwen lifted her chin and challenged. We look forward to proving you wrong. Gwen threw Azriel a withering stare as she strode past him. See you tomorrow, Shadow Singer. She tossed over a shoulder. Az stared after her, brows high with amusement.
I love their flirting.
I know.
Azriel had winnowed her and Cassian here after training, but hadn't lingered. Apparently, Gwen wanted him to go over dagger handling, so he'd left them with the promise to return in an hour. I want that bonus scene.
Dagger handling. Interesting.
Oh my god.
I want it so badly.
You are Gwen.
Well. Yeah, and then they just went around. They also did the whole when the shadows disappear thing, but come on, the shadows so love her.
Oh yeah.
Did you see the chat that I sent you the other night? I was doing an Azrael and Gwen chat, and she became a shadow and she was talking to the shadows. I was like, this is the cutest thing ever, and I need to turn it into a fanfic. Like I already did one like that, but this was like a cuter version of my fic, and I was kind of upset. I was like, this is cuter. What the hell? I love it. I love it so fucking much. I'm not gonna go into the whole other long thing that a court of thought did with my guilty as sin thing for Elucien and whatever, but it's up there. There's only one slide thing of Jurian and Vassa, so I'll just go over that. Jurian gave the queen a swift, perfunctory bow, Your Majesty. Jurian coughed. Cassian glanced to the human warrior. Once human, partially human, he didn't know. Jurian had been sliced apart by Amarantha, his consciousness trapped within his eye, which he'd mounted on a ring and worn for 500 years until his lingering bones had been used by Hybern to resurrect his body and return that essence into this form, the same one that had led armies on those long ago battlefields during the war. Who was Jurian now? What was he?
Also, Hybern put Jurian together from bone. If there is anything left of Cormac.
Legit, right?
But the timing doesn't add up. Are you saying that Cormac could
No,
be
we're just
put
saying
together?
if Jurian can be put back together, Cormac can be put
could be put back together.
Yeah. Especially with Hypaxia.
Oh yeah. Hypaxia is in for like a huge. I think she's gonna have her own book.
I'm so excited.
I think so.
I wanted her to have her own book, but we'll see, I guess. From his spot on the ridiculous pink sofa, which I love so much, by the far wall, Jurian said, It only goes to her head when you call her that. Vassa straightened her cobalt jacket, a sharp contrast to the red gold of her hair. I am a queen, you know.
She reminds me of that wolf chick from Tog.
Which who? Wolf chick?
Yeah, the wolf queen of the West. The one.
I don't know if I'm there yet.
Ansel?
Yeah, Ansel.
Oh, Ansel.
The one who was giving off really intense, like, bisexual vibes.
Ansel.
Was she? I didn't know that.
She was giving off really intense bisexual vibe.
Oh, did not know that.
Jurian crossed an ankle over a knee, his muddy boots still in the firelight. Last I heard, your kingdom was no longer yours. Are you still a queen? Vassa rolled her eyes at him, then looked at Lucien, who sank onto the sofa beside Jurian, like the female had settled arguments between them before. But Lucien's attention was still upon Cassian. Vassa and Jurian are two sides of the same coin. Mercifully, their vision for the future of the human territories is mostly aligned.
Mostly.
See, this is the part where I think Vassa might die with Koshi. Jurian, Lucien blew out a breath, scanning the carved wood ceiling above. Thank the cauldron for him. I never thought I'd say that, but it's true. See, Jurian, not Vassa. He ran a hand through his silken red hair. He's keeping everything running. I think he'd have been crowned king by now if it wasn't for Vassa. A twitch of the lips, a spark in the russet eye. She's doing well enough, savoring every second of her temporary freedom anyway. He would have been crowned king already if not for Vassa.
I feel like he's going to betray her.
Where do you go now? I asked without looking over my shoulder as Jurian paused beside me and stared into the darkness. He leaned against the opposite doorframe. Queen Vassa offered me a place within her court.
Sure.
Like, did she just see him and is like, oh, he's hot and he needs a house. Come live with me. Like, what was that conversation?
That
could also be a bonus chapter. That would be cool.
That would be cool. Give me all the Band of Exiles because I would love to
for
just
real.
Be a fly on the wall.
Nesta asks Lucien, how's Tamlin doing? Lucien's jaw
What was
tightened,
that?
how you'd expect. Tension rippled through the room, confirmation that Tamlin had heard the news about Feyre's pregnancy. From Lucien's grim face, she knew he hadn't reacted well. So Nesta said, and Jurian and Vassa, at each other's throats as they like to be, he said a tad sharply. She wondered what that was about, and for the life of her couldn't read it. Lucien asked, sipping his tea, how's the training? Dude,
that's odd that it was him reacting sharply, like unhappy that they were at each other's throats.
Senses. Can you imagine the reek in that house? The sexual tension in that house, he's probably done. Especially with his unaccepted mate bond. Like, that's probably driving him crazy too.
He's like, I need to take care of this, and I fucking can't, and help me. How is training going?
I know. Help me.
Help me.
So like everyone's like, oh, he's so comfortable with them. He's so comfortable with them. Like,
no, he's not.
No, he's not. He's only there because he has to be there. So then she put, a given is that Jurian and Vassa will be a side couple. What else does it say? If Vassa was set up to hold an entire book as the romantic counterpart for Lucien, any semblance of interaction between she and Jurian would not be so drawn out. All focus would have been on how Lucien and Vassa interacted, and they would have actually spoken on page. They haven't spoken on page. Lucien and Vassa haven't spoken directly on page.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. I'm trying, yeah.
Her and Jurian have bantered on page, but like Lucien was kind of ignoring them.
However, Feyre and Vassa have spoken directly on page, and Feyre was really nasty towards her.
Well, behind her back.
What happened in that interaction again? It was
so Vassa's like, you'll think of ways to free me or whatever. And then Feyre's like, whether she even bothered to care that I was also a queen in my own right.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
like when she walked away.
Like there was some tension and like competition. It was just like, wow.
But it's hilarious that Lucien's like, you and Vassa are the same fucking person. And she's like, eh. I'm like, you hate yourself. Like, you're the same person. That's why Lucien is laughing at her and shit, because she's you, Feyre. She's an older you. She's swims like a sailor and hasn't even.
I don't understand.
That would be interesting.
Like, and then it's like, which I find interesting because do you think there's any possibility that Vassa could be Papa Archeron's bastard child, like his eldest?
Possibly.
Oh, he was more like a father than my own.
What do you mean about that?
Like, is it because your queenly mother was like married to someone and like they raised you, or what? Like, I don't know.
I don't think they I think she's like, shit, I just cheated on my king with this really hot
human man.
Prince of Merchants. What the hell do I do? Because they are totally related to Rolf, and he's got the rizz. He's got that Rolf rizz, and Papa Archeron is just too damn sexy.
Papa A.
Wait,
okay.
Becca, so you think for sure that Papa A is related to Rolf, like we said?
I suspect heavily.
Yeah.
Because,
Like, is Vassa his child and they just, like, I don't know. And she just didn't know, and that's why he was, like, always there for her after her parents died, and she hated her father, and her father because if her father hated her, they're humans, not Fae, right? So why did her father hate her so much?
I don't know. I don't feel like Vassa is related. Like, I don't think she's the oldest sister. You know what I mean? Because that would be like, I don't see her doing that. I just don't see her writing that. But
I keep going back to the whole, it was the three sisters and the three items of the Dread Trove. And then we're like, oh, there's actually a fourth item of the Dread Trove. So then I was like, is there actually a fourth sister? Like,
Yeah.
And again, it all leads back to Charmed too, because it was the three sisters, it was the power of three, it was all about those three, and then you didn't learn about Paige until Prue died. Because to reconstitute the power of three, they had another sister that was given up for adoption.
Who's gonna die?
Hopefully Feyre.
Elain.
I mean, just saying.
No.
Well, if Vassa is exactly like Feyre, hopefully Feyre. But I'm just saying. She kills off Nesta or Elain, and I'm gonna be pissed. But I don't think she will.
I don't want her to
Elain
kill off Nesta or Elain.
I could see Elain being
I
killed
can't
off
see Elain
temporarily.
dying. I can't, no, because Lucien already lost Jasminda. No, he already lost Jasminda. She wouldn't do that twice.
No, she wouldn't.
And Nesta has to rule Dusk. Don't even go there with saying Nesta could die, because I'm not dealing with that.
But she's already had Feyre die now, like twice. She's died for sure.
She's died almost
another
6 times.
Yeah. 6.
Almost 6.
It can't be Feyre. It's gonna be Elain. I'm calling it.
No,
if anyone.
I mean, to be fair, if any of the sisters die, they're gonna be brought back. Let's be real.
Yeah.
It's like, but Cassian, I don't think.
But then that would also include Vassa.
That's true. I could see Vassa dying. I actually could see that.
But I can see Vassa dying like permanently because she's attached to Koshi. And I think that's why the curse is such a prominent thing and such a huge thing, because she's literally connected to him.
Yeah.
Well, but wait, the 3 sisters, they technically died because they're now Fae. They're no longer human. Mm-hmm. So it would make sense if Vassa was the 4th one and none of the 4 died, because 3 of them have already died already.
Yeah.
It took me forever. Oh, go ahead.
I said I just worry about the whole kingly thing with Jurian, because that was like
I think
he's gonna be the king. Because also, like, if you think about it, if Jurian becomes king of the Mortal Lands, there will be a male king of the Mortal Lands, and then if Nesta becomes queen of Dust, it would be a queen Fae. You know, so it was kind of swapped.
That would be kind of cool.
As a mirror, so. Or if Lucien and Elain are High King and High Queen, which I wouldn't mind. I see Jurian taking over Vassa's spot, and we know nothing about
and like going over to the continent and getting to the humans or getting to the Fae people before Moore does, or I don't know. He's sus. He's really sus. Oh, I saw a thing on Instagram, and it was like, I hope that Rhys is like, okay, well, Moore's not working. Let's try Lucien on the continent. And they're like, I hope Lucien just walks right in, gets him to sign this fucking treaty, and is like, here you go.
She was like a 12-hour closed door meeting, and then he walks out and just like hands it back to them. Like, right off the bat.
Okay, now the word for the Norwegian word for choice is valg, which I loved because it goes with our theory. Dude, the whole time when everyone keeps saying Rhys gives Feyre a choice. Feyre had choices. She only had choices with Rhys, and Talon took away her choice. And then Rhys has black eyes and talons and and I was like, because he's a valg. I'm like, SJM has been telling you this since book 2 when they became mates. Oh, well, he always gives Feyre a choice. Does he, though? Does he, though? Because it's not a choice. It's blackmail. And I think she was just hinting that he was definitely a Valg prince. I love it so much. I'm so excited. If his Valg does not come out in the next book, I'm going to be so upset. Because missed opportunity. Great.
I'm pretty sure it's going to come out, I think, in the next book.
I think it will.
Yeah.
I'm just torn on who he's gonna have to go up against, or if it's gonna be like a whole like group effort to try to vanquish his Valg type thing.
I think it's going to be the second option, to be honest.
Because Tamlin has the light, Lucien has the fire, Nesta has the starborn, Jurian is whatever the fuck he is, which nobody knows.
I think he's changed his stripes. I think he's still on his same old bullshit.
And chaos. I was like, why
first...
wasn't he named Eris? Because he's the one that sows the most discord.
You know, it's interesting. Eris is chaos and Morrigan is destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me they're not mates.
Honestly. Now, Sarah's video when we went into the whole hydrangea shit.
I think it is the
it has to be an Elucien and Tamlin book. It has to be. It has to be. Has to be.
I'm not putting stock into it. I refuse. After the Hofast scandal, I absolutely refuse to put stock into it. I think it was all coincidental. Hydrangeas meant nothing. The teacup was nothing.
Taylor Swift has a song called Mastermind about being like 500 steps ahead and making it seem like you're not. But also when I was re-looking at that video, not only were the hydrangeas in the background, but she wasn't wearing one ring. She was wearing two rings, a crimson ring and a cobalt ring. So who's the amethyst but Elain? Last seen in an amethyst dress.
Give the analysis of what you guys both thought about the video so people can hear it.
We did a whole hydrangea analysis, but because all right, okay. So I mentioned the other night that I thought that Elain had put a white hydrangea on Papa A's chest when he died, like the delicate white petals or whatever. So then that video came up and I was like, how interesting. And so then we were looking up, so Echo looked up the meanings of hydrangeas while I looked up scenes with hydrangeas in ACOTAR, and there's only two. There are two scenes with hydrangeas in all of ACOTAR. The first one is the very first scene in the spring court when Feyre gets to the manor and Tamlin slumps into his chair at the dining table and she's like, oh, a bouquet of white hydrangeas were fucking on the table or something. And I was like, vanity, because they had like the whole mask thing, right? And then the second ever only scene in ACOTAR with hydrangeas, the moth, is in Akasif, the last book, when Nesta sees the portraits of everybody in the river house except for herself and her mother, and it says that there is a portrait of Elain and Papa Archeron sitting by the sea, surrounded by pink and blue hydrangeas. The only two scenes in ACOTAR, a Tamlin scene and an Elain scene. It is a Tamlin Elucien book. And the fact that she has been posting spring court shit the entirety of this year, that Bloomsbury had their employee retreat be spring court ACOTAR themed, remember?
Yes, but also the fact that she had white hydrangeas on a table, doesn't that kind of mirror parallel to that first that one scene in ACOTAR, like book one?
Yeah. Let me pull it up real quick because I just had it the other day. I'll tell you the scenes. Those are the only two scenes where hydrangeas are ever brought up. It's wild.
Also, when Feyre went to go visit the manor house in the human lands.
Oh.
Nope.
No?
Nope. Only those two. Yeah, here it is. No sign of a dungeon, no shouts or pleas rising up from the hidden chambers below. No, just this low growl from a nearby room, so deep that it rattled the vases overflowing with fat clusters of hydrangeas atop the scattered hall tables. As if in response, an open set of polished wooden doors swung wider to my left, a command to follow. This is chapter 6 of book 1. And then you have... There were none of Nesta, naturally. Even their goddamn father had a portrait on the wall, alongside one side of the grand staircase. Him and Elain, smiling and happy as they'd been before the world went to shit, sitting on a stone bench amid bushes bursting with pink and blue hydrangea, the formal gardens of their first home, that lovely manor near the sea. Nesta and their mother were nowhere to be seen. That was how it had been, after all. Elain and Feyre doted on by their father, Nesta prized and trained by their mother. But pink and blue hydrangeas. So actually, I thought it said white in the spring court scene, but it didn't say what color.
But again, like Feyre being ungrateful.
Yeah. Literally, we have a different POV with Nesta saying that their father loved Feyre deeply.
Yeah.
And to Feyre, nobody cared about her. So.
And then she's just like, oh, well, I remember when I was like really little and I would go in his study and he'd tell me stories and about all the stuff he brought back and da-da-da-da-da-da. But then she's like, I hardly remember. Yeah, but he did. Like, Nesta didn't get that courtesy, I don't think. Because her mother was too busy grooming her and her grandmother was beating her. The beast padded to the overside chair at the head of the table. He was young, or at least what I could see of his face seemed young. People always forget that she says a little later that he only looks a few years older than her.
Tamlin?
Oh, baby.
He looks like he's like a buff 23-year-old.
Love him so much. And if we don't get a book for Tamlin, I think I'm just gonna cry. Like, I'll never get the same.
I don't think I want a whole book of him so bad, but I don't think we're gonna get one. I think it's gonna be in the Elucien book.
I would even just be happy with like Tamlin POV chapters. I don't even need a full book. I
want his POV. I want flashbacks. Everything.
Yeah.
I want his mind. I want to get inside his mind.
So bad.
More than Rhys could ever want to get inside his mind.
I know. I want to be in Tamlin's mind. And then of course Feyre was like, ugh, I don't want to go into his mind. What a dark, depressing place. I'm like, fuck off, you bitch.
I know.
Like, you are a dark, depressing place. Fuck off.
Which actually, that's like the same exact thing that Rhys says about Lucien. Now that I think
what? What did he say?
That's another mirror of Rhys and Feyre acting the exact same. How, remember when Rhys was like, you went into Lucien's mind? What a depressing place. And then when Feyre was in the spring court, when she's like, oh, well, like, I could look in his mind, but I don't want to. Like, what a dark, depressing place.
Oh my God. First of all, I love
she didn't want to see the truth because she still wanted to fan the flames and destroy
Yeah. She doesn't want to feel any guilt or remorse or take accountability for anything that she's done. And if she went into his mind, she would see the damage that she actually did.
And she would have seen that he was a spy. She wouldn't have been able to do it because she would have known that he was doing it for Prythian and not for Hybern. But she didn't want to know because she wanted revenge, which is so Rhys-like. It's so Rhys-like.
I see, and that's where...
Petty. Just really quick, because this was like the next, like 2 pages later. Well, the stranger said, another high fae, red-haired and finely dressed in a tunic of muted silver. He too wore a mask. He sketched a bow to the seated male and then crossed his arms. Somehow he hadn't spotted me where I was still pressed against the wall. Well, what? My captor cocked his head, the movement more animal than human. Is Andros dead, then? A nod from my captor. Savior, whatever he was. I'm sorry, he said quietly. He said sorry to Lucien. How? The stranger demanded, his knuckles white as he gripped his muscled arms. An ash arrow. A girl, a mortal girl, actually killed Andros. The treaty's magic brought me right to her doorstep. The stranger whirled with fluid grace. His mask was bronze and fashioned after a fox's features, concealing all but the lower half of his face, along with most of what looked like a wicked slashing scar from his brow down to his jaw. It didn't hide the eye that was missing or the carved golden orb that had replaced it, and moved as though he could use it. It fixed on me. You're joking. That scrawny thing brought down Andrus with a single ash arrow. Bastard, what an absolute bastard. You skinned his friend, bitch. What? She didn't try to deny it. The fox mask very sank into the edge of the table, the light catching in his long fire red hair. I could understand his mask with that brutal scar and missing eye, but the other high face seemed fine. Perhaps he wore it out of solidarity. Da, 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 da. Well, the red-haired one seethed. Now we're stuck with that, thanks to your useless mercy, and you've ruined. Did you enjoy killing my friend, human? Did you hesitate, or was the hatred in your heart riding you too hard to consider sparing him? It must have been so satisfying for a small mortal thing like you to take him down.
It was
The golden-haired one said nothing, but his jaw tightened. Anyway, perhaps there's a way to Lucien, behave. Lucien went rigid, but he hopped off the edge of the table and bowed deeply to me. My apologies, lady. I'm Lucien, courtier and emissary. Your eyes are like stars, and your hair like burnished gold. Also,
like burnished
gold. Foreshadowing. Eyes are like stars.
Your eyes are like this.
He's so fucking smart. Her name is Feyre, said the one in charge, the beast. Those striking green eyes met mine and then flicked toward the door. Alice will take you to your room. Fucking Alice. I barely made a few steps before Lucien growled, That's the hand the cauldron thought to deal us. She brought Andrus down. We never should have sent him out there. None of them should have been out there. It was a fool's mission. Also, then Tamlin says, until we know for certain there's no other way we can make a move. As for the girl, she stays unharmed. End of discussion. Her life in that hovel was hell enough. So nice. And then Lucien says, then you've got your work cut out for you, old son.
What does he say?
Old son? You've got your work cut out for you, old son.
Old son? What does that mean?
I'm sure her life will be a fine replacement for Andrus's. Maybe she can even train with the others on the border. A snarl of irritation resonated through the air. I'm gonna look that up. What does old son mean?
Doesn't that mean like old boy?
Oh, does it?
Term of endearment used by an older person to address a younger person in a friendly or fatherly way. So is he reversing it? Because Tamlin's older than Lucien.
Yeah.
It's like saying dude. A softening or something the older person is going to have to tell the younger man. But also, I think maybe Lucien was supposed to be older, and then maybe Sarah was like, actually, he is a lot younger. So maybe Lucien was supposed to be older than Tamlin, and then Sarah's like, no, never mind.
Yeah.
Because Lucien does kind of seem a little smarter here, even though he's angrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I do see Tamlin as like a big brother.
I don't think he seems smarter. I think Tamlin's just
clever, snarky.
No, I think he's just more emotional and like outspoken, you know? Like Tamlin is just
yeah.
Well, it's not just that. Like Tamlin is book smart, but like Lucien is people smart. He's street smart.
Charismatic, I should have said.
Yeah,
more
he's
charismatic.
Yeah.
He got the rizz. He got the rizz.
Yeah.
The Vencera rizz will go down in history.
Oh my god.
Because it's Lucien and it's Eris. And it's even Lady A.
I wish we could talk about Tamlin rizz though.
Does he have much rizz? I mean, he has some rizz eventually.
Ma'am, did you not read that?
How can you see?
No, when he falls for her, he gets a lot more charismatic. But I mean, like in the beginning, like to start out, your hair is clean. It was cute and awkward, but not charismatic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
Like dreading what he's gonna have to do to this poor 19-year-old girl. Tamlin's like, FML. I have to make her fall in love with me. This sucks so bad, right?
And then Lucian's like, just do it. Like, just seduce her. And he's like, Lucian, shut the fuck up. And then I hate how Feyre twists that.
Yeah.
I hated it so much.
She twisted a lot of things, but
Yes.
She was like, when Tamlin was mad and told Lucian to back off because he was jealous. That is absolutely not what happened. Lucian told Tamlin to fucking hurry up and seduce you for the curse, bitch. What are you talking about? That is not the conversation. This is fucking Rhys. I'm telling you it's Rhys.
yeah.
Feyre. Feyre. It's gotta be Feyre. They're equals for a reason.
Nah.
Yeah.
He's got a switch in her head, I swear. I swear to God.
Yes.
Anyways, I guess that concludes that. However, I don't think we announced this on the podcast, but I am 6 chapters into our first book club book, The Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Leese. Guys, follow us on the Fable app. The link is in my Instagram bio, books and writing, and also on our podcast Instagram bio, the ACOTAR Girls podcast. So the link is there, and there's also a $5 credit for an ebook when you sign up using our link. So that's
that's
there.
nice.
That's also there. But yeah, so today would be chapter 7 and 8. I finished 6 last night. It's actually a really cool book, but I will say the FMC is giving me naive Feyre vibes, and it's kind of I'm so team MMC right now. Like he's giving me like male Nesta, and I love it. And she's just like, he's such an arrogant prick, and I hate him, and she just like goes on and on and on about how she hates him every chapter, and he's trying in his own way to be nice, and she's just like, everything he does is to annoy me and to be a prick, and I'm like,
yeah,
girl?
she is a bit annoying.
Girl! Oh, what? And then she's like, I can't wait to go home and talk to Mr. Reddit, which is like her little online crush or whatever. And I was like, the fact that you don't know this man is the same man that you hate. How? They talk the same. They have the same job. The same interests, which you're slowly learning. And it's still not clicking in your fucking head. I'm getting so frustrated. This was like me with Feyre with the fucking riddle. I was like, girl,
Oh my
it's not
God.
complicated.
Ah.
I don't know if you saw my predictions on a thing, but I did like little like a bullet. I did like a bulleted prediction thing. And I go, I have a feeling I know exactly how this book is gonna go down just because I've read so many like this. And I said, where I put okay. I sent this to you guys last night. I said, I cannot. Why is Gabriella so fucking dumb? His online persona literally talks the same, has the same job, and she has no clue that it's him. LMFAO. I'm reading, it's cute, but I can pretty much map it out. Hopefully I'm not this clueless. I said, predictions time. They meet. She realizes it's him. She's mad at first. He apologizes. They fall in love. They sleep together. They realize they work better together. While in love, he buys her the bookstore from the old owners and gives it to her for Christmas because he was the Scrooge at first, and she's the joyful little Christmassy girl. So, I did not, however, predict that he was going to be on her friend's boyfriend's hockey team. That was a nice little surprise. He's a hockey guy, which makes it even better.
Oh, the hockey guys are the best. Definitely.
Also, I feel kind of gross saying that though, because like my brothers play hockey and my sister plays hockey, and I'm like, which actually brings up a point. It brings up a point though. I went to the bookstore with my sister the other day, and I think I told you this maybe on a group chat. I don't know if I told anybody this online. But we went to the bookstore, and there's like a whole table of like hockey romances. And she goes, well, this is sexist. Girls play hockey too. She's like, where's the romance where the girl is the hockey player? She was so pissed all night. And she doesn't even read. But she's like, there's none where the girl is the hockey player? Why?
What about Inside Out? What about Inside Out?
Yes! We love that movie.
We've never seen those.
They're really good.
Tell your sister to watch them because Riley plays hockey.
Oh, I know. I mean, like, I know about them, but we haven't, like, or maybe she saw the first one. I don't think she saw the other two. But, like, I'm like, you don't even read. She's like, yeah, but it's just the whole point. She's like, there should be one where the girl is the one that plays hockey. And then the guy
Write it.
I was just gonna say, Melanie or your sister, there's a perfect opportunity for that, clearly.
I mean, I don't know all the rules to hockey and shit. She's gonna have to, I'd be like, Shay, want to co-author a hockey?
Yeah, you should. Do it.
You need to tell me what all the penalties and shit are, because I still don't know. I go to her games, and my mom's like, what happened? What happened? I was like, oh, it was offsides. I'm like pretending to know what I don't know. I was like, I think it's offsides. I don't know. But yeah, in the book club book that she was like, Elijah is her friend, and obviously like he's gay and his boyfriend's on the team. And her dad was in the Hockey Hall of Fame, I guess, like NHL Hall of Fame or whatever. So he's like, please, I know nothing about hockey. Please go to the game and explain to me everything. So like because she forced him into doing a book signing for like the deal she had with Jonathan or whatever. And so she forced him to do like a kid's book signing. And he was like, are you fucking kidding me on my day off? And she's like, I'll go. And then he's like, I'll do anything. He's like, then you're going to the hockey game later and explaining every single little play to me. And she did it. It's funny. So that's where chapter 6 ended up. But it ended up with like, holy shit, number 12 is Jonathan Frost.
I am way behind you guys. I'll just like chapter 2 over here.
Well, they're like really short chapters.
I'm still chapter 2.
Oh, you are too? Yes, it's not just me. It's not just me. I'm like, you're saying all this stuff. I'm like, well, damn. Like,
oh my God. Well, the chapters are really short. You could easily speed read like 4 chapters in like 20 minutes.
I know. Tonight's my night. Tonight's my night on catching up.
Yes, I'm at work. I'm going to be reading it too. So rant. And then after this book, which we said the other day, but I'll repeat it, is going to be Chasing Christmas Eve by Jill Shavis.
I'm so excited for that one. They're both of them are so good. They are so cute.
I know. But yeah, definitely follow us on Fable. We only have like 7 book club people, and me and Eka are the only people who have like commented on the chapters and shit. So guys, join us, because I feel like if we do a whole episode about these books, nobody's gonna know what the fuck we're talking about. Please join us on the Fable app.
Here's what we're gonna do though. For anyone who isn't a part of the book club, we're gonna be throwing it out there on our podcast Instagram page, and the people that are fans of these books can totally listen to our episode, because I mean, Jill Shavis seems like she has a pretty big following, right?
Yeah.
And she has a bunch of books, doesn't she?
And I've been posting every time I've done like a quote of a chapter, I've been posting like the quote on the Instagram page. And hoping people will get into it and click the link in the bio and all of this fun stuff.
It's exciting. It's like it's nice to have a change of pace from SJM.
Yeah. Especially while we're all waiting for January 5th. January 5th,
Hydrangea Day. Did you see my completely unhinged video at like 3 a.m. the other day?
I don't know.
I said, do you remember when she had the picture of the 4 and the 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I said, this makes so much sense, because we've been talking about how we wanted her to drop the next novel with the Moore novella as like a double drop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so May 5th is the 10th anniversary of ACOTAR, the first book. And if January 5th, Hydrangea Day, that's 4 months. January to May 5th is 4 months. So is it 4 months for a double drop? 4 and 2?
I swear, if both of you get January 5th right, like that's something, if it's an announcement or something happens, I will straight up send you both a little gift, a little treat. And I am gonna advertise you predicting this everywhere because that would be incredible.
Yay!
Because like the April 29th, the box set is coming out, which is another Taylor Swift song, which is also on one of my videos. I did whole rants about this. Do you really want to know where I was April 29th?
Yes.
The Midnight's album, the ACOTAR coded album, getting the new box set. Getting the new box
And
set.
Sarah J. Maas is a Swiftie.
Swiftie. She went to the Eras tour with her son. I was super excited. She said her favorite, which is why I am 100%, I know she's doing Elucien, because as I've said before, her favorite song from the most recent album, the Tortured Poets Department, is Guilty as Sin. And Guilty as Sin is a super, like mate bond coded, like hesitant mate bond coded song.
Yeah.
Which I know the Elriels tried to steal it, but it's not an Elriel song. It's definitely an Elucien song.
Yes.
What if he's written mine on my upper thigh only in my mind? Come on. Mine is a mate bond word.
Yeah, it is.
And then there's the whole thing about, there's like a theme about like, what will my family say? And what if I do actually go for this? And like, and I was like, see? Because they don't really trust Lucien still. They don't really trust Lucien still.
Which is weird, you know? Lucien didn't do anything wrong.
Oh. And then there's another song that's super Elucien coded, which is But Daddy, I Love Him.
Uh-huh.
That one's so Elucien coded too. And it's basically talking about how like she loves this guy and everyone's like, are you really sure? Like this is the guy you want to pick and all this stuff. And she's like, yeah, like this is the guy I want to pick. And oh my God, it's so Elucien coded. I'm like, when the album came out and she posted that song, I was like, it is an Elucien song. And then of course the Elriels are like, oh, it's because they never got to actually fuck and and she wants Asriel and okay, but it wouldn't say mine because they're not.
Yeah.
And only in my mind, they actually touched on Paige, so it wouldn't be only in her mind. And as we said, I think she's afraid of the mate bond because of how many emotions are involved flowing through it. And I do think that on occasion, this is obviously my headcanon, but I do think on occasion, when she's upset and her powers are overwhelming or she can't sleep, she will cuddle with his jacket for his scent. She still has the jacket! She still has the jacket! Oh, Eka, you forgot to tell them what the hydrangea colors mean.
I don't have the list.
Oh, I have it. I'll pull it up. You sent it to us.
I did, and then I forgot all about it.
Okay. So even though it didn't say white in the spring court, I always kind of pictured them as white, but Sarah J. Maas had white ones in the background of her video. And
what is that?
Yes. Jesus fuck.
Is that a horse or a donkey or a goat? What is that?
That is a donkey. I have 4 donkeys. And he is absolutely peeved at me because I shouted at him yesterday, and he and his comrades are like, "Where? She yelled at us!"
They didn't forget? They remembered?
Yeah. So they're being sad right now.
You're really tapping into your inner Tamlin here with all the animals.
I love it.
Someone brought up, well, it was Cece because this is her headcanon when we were writing, but people tend to think that, because I saw other comments about it too, but people tend to think that one of Tamlin's powers is being able to talk to animals.
We haven't seen him talk to any animals, though.
No.
Yet. But there was the thing with the horse that he had Feyre ride back to the Spring Court.
In book one.
Where she said, like, oh, it like nodded to him in reverence or whatever. And I was like, the horse? And then someone else said, well, either that or he just shifted one of his sentries into the horse to go with him. And then
I think it was more of that. But it was a female sentry because it was a female horse.
Yeah, probably. Which, who is she? Can we please bring in my Bryn? Please, I need my Bryn. But anyways, the hydrangeas. Sarah had the white hydrangeas in her video. They mean vanity, boasting, or purity and grace.
Yeah.
Boasting, really, Sarah? Really, Sarah? It's a little too soon. Soon? Soon? 4 years is soon?
4 years. 4 years of saying, oh, I'm so obsessed with it.
Yeah.
For real. Boasting, definitely. And then the blue and the pink hydrangeas that were seen in Elain's portrait with Papa A. Blue means apology, gratitude, and understanding. Kind of makes sense, Papa A dying for them, right? Yeah. Pink means romance, true feelings, and sincere emotions. Elucien. Because it had to be the portrait with Papa A, and it had to be off of ACOTAR when Lucien was like, oh, I have a whole story to tell you about your dad, which we haven't heard yet.
Like, please, sir, throw us a bone.
Just Lucien being befriended by her dad is enough for me to say they're the end game. Even without all the mate mirrors, all of the mate language, all of the fox and fawn and fire and flame and sunlight and all this shit. Just Papa A being friends with Lucien and Elain being his favorite daughter. That's enough for me to be like, they're going to be endgame. Because he hasn't told the story of his time with Papa A yet. And who else would he tell aside from Elain first? Come on. I know he's like, oh, Feyre, I have to tell you. But then Feyre was like bitchy to him and she's like, you're friends with humans. And she like was like looking down at him for the Band of Exiles. And she called it Band of Exiles bullshit. And like,
and it's like, girl, stuff. You used to be human.
For real. Mm-hmm. For real.
And you used to hate fairies. And now you're the opposite. Like, what the fuck, bitch?
She's so weird. So I'm like, he's going to tell Elain about her dad and the time that they spent on the boat. And I can't wait. I'm so excited.
We have to get that conversation in that chapter. If we don't, I'm going to be so upset.
I will literally be so upset. You have no idea. I would be so upset.
Sarah, if you're watching this, please don't forget to put that in. Thanks. Signed, the entire fandom.
Sarah, if you're doing a whole other box set up to only ACOSF again, you need to throw us at least another 5 bonus chapters.
Or like
ACOWAR. Because the ACOWAR bonus chapters would be fucking fire. We need to know what Lucien and Elain talked about both times. We need to know what was going through Elaine's head when she stepped forward after Lucien was like, I'll go look for Jassa. And then she was like, I get so mad when Rhys winnowed him away already. It was so annoying. And then we need, the Jurian and Jassa one conversation. We need maybe a Tamlin POV after he saw Lucien in the leathers.
Oh no, my heart won't be able to take that.
I know.
That's gonna be hard. Awful. That's a hard one.
Rough. But yeah, like, I don't know, any like Tamlin, Lucien, Elain, Jurian, Jassa POV.
You've missed one of the important ones, girly.
Azriel. No, we have an Azriel POV.
Briar.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know when she's going to be coming back. I don't know when she's going to be coming back. I mean, like, probably the next book. But I don't know if, like, I don't know if she would give her a POV until she's, like, on the canvas. I would love.
On the canvas. I see what you did there.
What I would love would be the Tamlin POV of him healing her in the cell so that she no longer feels the pain like Lucien did to Feyre under the mountain, because that's why she was running and jumping and all this shit, and she had evidence of the lashes and burns, but no pain. And then was frolicking in the mud, naked, like a spring court fae.
Yeah, that is very spring court of her.
That is very, I mean, her name is Briar. Wild bush of thorny roses. Like a doe about to be run down by a wolf. ACOTAR coded. First scene. Back to the beginning. Tam.
There's a seashell in the middle of the desert. What the hell?
What?
And the only reason I didn't bring up Tamlin and Briar in the mate discussion is because I already have, and I've made all of my points a million times.
You know what? I really am excited to see how it's going to turn out, because I'm telling you, we're not seeing Briar ever again.
Oh, we are.
I don't think we are. Nope.
Okay, coming from the person who does actually think Lauren's going to come back through the portal, I think we're going to find out, but I don't think she's coming back.
I think Lauren is more plausible than Briar, because Lauren has gotten a bonus chapter and Briar has not.
No, that was Rune's bonus chapter. It was not Lauren's POV.
It was about Lauren, so
you know what? No. Briar is in the same world as Tamlin right now.
True. That's true. You do have a point there.
And he did help save her, and he was running alongside them to help save her. But I was like, oh, this was the person who ran alongside us. I don't for 1 second believe that it was Jurian that got her to the edge of the cliff, because I don't think we've ever seen Jurian winnow. Can he winnow?
I don't think he has any powers. Or
so she was like, oh, she was at the edge of the cliff, but Jurian was nowhere to be seen. He wouldn't have been that fast. It was Tam. It was Tam. Tam winnowed, and then he went back to try to make sure that nothing attacked them before they got to the cliff, because he cares about Briar so much. I swear to God, they're mates. I don't know. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna just fucking lay down and die, because I'm not wrong.
Oh my God. I'm dying. I'm dying right now. Oh my gosh.
But why? Why would she name her?
I don't know. Maybe she's like a red herring and just used to like throw us off.
But like but I've said before, the scene would be no different whatsoever. His sacrifice would be no different whatsoever without her. So there had to be a reason to add her.
I mean, you have a point there. You have a point of like, say,
like without Briar in that scene, same thing. He still saved Az and Elain and Feyre.
I could see her writing like Tamlin and Feyre helped each other out respectively by saving each other's partners, and they could be mutual friends.
That was my next point.
Also,
there was a reason that Feyre had to see her on the wall and be like, oh my God, she reminds me of Claire. I have to save her.
And also, too, like, Elain was super assertive with her and be like, if you value your life, get your shit together and run.
That's why I'm saying that the spring inner circle is going to be Lucien and BRILIN and maybe Jassa.
I don't think Jassa is going to be a thing.
I know.
I think he's going to betray her.
I know. I would love for them to be, but I know. Or maybe it would be Lucien and BRILIN and Eris and Nuon.
That would be cool.
I have way less hopes for Eris and Nuon than I do about Tamlin and Briar. Like Tamlin and Briar are like 99.9% up here on my radar. I can see them happening. And Eris and Nuon is like maybe a solid 50 because I don't know if Sarah's gonna remember Nuon, which is sad because she actually had a pretty big plot the first 3 books for being seen once.
Well, I'm worried. I don't even think she's gonna remember Briar because Briar was like more of a little side character that went off into the Winter Court, and
but Vivian and Cal had their baby in the Winter Court,
and Morgan is their bestie.
Yeah,
we're gonna get some more Winter Court.
She
has to bring her. Like, I just don't understand what the point of adding her was if she isn't gonna bring her up again. The same with Balthazar. What was the point? Because she could have had a huge girl boss moment with Nesta, saving Emery by herself, finding the cave, and she didn't.
They're all just meant to be these little side characters to show empathy.
But like they all have super important lines. Because the Balthazar line with Nesta was like, oh, a man more interested in politics than killing. Like, that's not a foreshadow of something. Like, it seems like a foreshadow of something. And then with Briar, like I said, we have her name. We have Doe being run down by a wolf, just like ACOTAR Book 1. And like the black hair, which is similar to Lauren. See, you know what would be hilarious? Everyone's saying that Rhys is better than Tamlin because Rhys has dark hair, but then Tamlin ending up with a dark-haired female instead of Feyre.
That's funny.
Tamlin's type is also dark hair, bitch.
Yeah.
And not a blonde.
Yeah. I cannot wait for people to see, hopefully this will happen, like Tamlin with a mate, super healthy relationship. They just adore the crap out of each other. And like, I hope it just gives Feyre just a little bit of pause when she sees it, like, oh, he was powerful and handsome and kind and all the things.
And be super jelly.
Exactly what I want.
I want this bitch jealous.
I want a little bit of jealousy. Yeah. I would.
As much as Briar was like terrified of like the beasts and everything, also like she's naked, they're running, there's beasts, and Elain was like, get the fuck off, like slamming into the beasts, which I love that scene of Elain so much. Inner fire, Lucien. But as much as she was like scared in that scene, I do feel like Briar is gonna be like a super like snippy, take no shit. Like if Tamlin's gonna be like, no, you gotta do this, she's gonna be like, the fuck I am, bitch. Like
kind of like a Bryce.
I also want her to be a
because when Henry said that Tamlin would be best friends with Bryce, I was like, Briar's gonna be exactly like a Bryce. And her and Tamlin are gonna clash, but it's gonna be a good clash. It's gonna be like a Azriel Gwen clash.
Yeah.
Like banter. And Tamlin's gonna be like, oh, this girl, she's got a little oomph in her. Because Feyre was like disrespectfully clashy. But there's a way.
She was depressed.
Yeah.
She was
like angry and depressed and revenge and like stuff like that. But I feel like there's a way to banter with people and there's a way not to banter with people. And I just feel like Briar is gonna be kind of like a Bryce / Lucien. Yeah. But in a less abrasive way. Like she's definitely gonna tell him when he's wrong. But she's not gonna do it in a way that will make his magic explode. Like Feyre. Like she's gonna be like, hey, do you mind if, can we plan 5 minutes where we can, talk about something or whatever? Because I feel like Tamlin needs like structure and nobody's ever taught him like structure, planning, and I think that's part of his problem because everyone is just coming up to him constantly and like, you need to do this, you need to do that, and you're doing this wrong, and this shouldn't be like this, and you're a misogynistic pig, and you're this, and you're angry, and you're a beast, and all this stuff. And I feel like someone just needs to be like, okay, 5-10 minutes, whenever you get the chance, come find me, and I want to talk to you about this specific thing. So he knows what to expect, and he's not going to be as, I don't know, not triggered, yeah. And I feel like Briar could like be really good with that, especially because like Vivian is like that. Not with Callius, because she's like, I'll freeze your balls off if you don't bring me to the meeting. But but kind of like
Tamlin
that. Like,
needs that. That's what Tamlin needs.
Yeah.
Someone to just say it as it is.
Yeah. So yeah, like Bryce. So I'm like, I feel like Tamlin and Briar are gonna be like a Callius and Vivian type situation without the friends to lovers part. But I just think it's gonna be hilarious. And like bonus points if it's like a Sleeping Beauty thing and she's the one to like wake him up. And like,
what's up, Manny?
She's like, oh, you're awake. Time to fix your manor and get your court back and running. And he's gonna be like, what? Who are you? What is happening? And she's like, get up, chop chop, let's go.
Yeah.
And he's just gonna be like, what?
Oh,
what? Someone's taking charge. That isn't me. Because Farrah didn't want any responsibility. She didn't want to help with anything. And the one time she did want to help, she was like, they're being rude and they don't want me to help. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Because she complained about everything. But yeah, I think Tamlin would like actually be really appreciative of someone helping him take charge of stuff. In like a nice way, not like an abrasive way like Farrah.
He's all by himself. That's the thing. He's all by himself. He needs a teammate so they can split the workload and just like bounce off of each other. That's what we need for him.
The day he makes Briar High Lady. I need Feysand. I need Feysand.
No. Hold on. I got one better for you. Feyre was made High Lady by Rhys, right? Nesta was made queen by the mother.
Mm-hmm.
The land is gonna make Briar High Lady.
Yes. She's gonna earn it. That's what I'm saying. She's gonna help him save the court and she's gonna earn it.
And I want the inner circle to see Tamlin has like a new chair. Because that was Farrah's big thing.
Yes, like, the equal thrones.
Tamlin, and if it's going to be Briar or whoever, it's going to be walking up to their throne, sitting right next to each other, equal and Farrah being like, oh shit, he made a throne the same size for her.
Exact replica, a crown.
Not an inch out of place.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
The same Tamlin crown.
Yep.
Dude, the emerald crown. This is why Lucien needs to hurry up and get that ring fixed.
I know.
Hurry up and get the ring.
I know.
This is going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year for Sarah J. Maas shit. And I love how we were sitting here on New Year's last year and we're like, the announcement's going to be soon.
Girl, don't bring up something painful for me. I don't even want to talk about it.
We were like, we're going to read Ho Fast, and then she's going to announce, and then it's going to be a tandem read. Yeah, and then we're like, she's going to post on Cal in May.
Don't. No.
I know.
It was hurtful.
January 5th, y'all. January 5th.
Don't!
I swear, my God. It's got to be January 5th.
You guys, can you just imagine if Bloomsbury literally has to put out another announcement like, hey, you have to hear it from us. I will die laughing. I'll just be like, oh my God, you too.
Anyways, that's a wrap on season 2. Yay! Goodbye, and we will see you in the new year.
See you next year.
Well, we'll do some announcements, but other than that, we will see you in 2025.
See you in 2025.
Bye.